The following is a class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 4, text number 38, given by His Grace, Sriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari, recorded on May 25th, 2010, in Sofia, Bulgaria.
So tonight we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, text number 38. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nahi Jnanena Sadrisham Pavitram Iha Vidyate Tat Svayam Yoga Samsiddha Kalena Atmani Vindati Nahi Jnanena Sadrishang Pavitram Iha Vidyate Tatsvayam Yoga Samsiddha Kalena Atmani Vindati Nahi Jnanena Sadrishang Pavitram Iha Vidyate Tatsvayam Yoga Samsiddha Kalena Atmani Vindati. Nothing. You can give the Bulgarian translation of the word. He certainly. Jnanena with knowledge. Sadrisham in comparison. Pavitram sanctified. Iha in this world. Vidyate exists. Tat that. Svayam himself. Yoga in devotion. Samsiddha he who is mature. Kalena in course of time. Atmani in himself. Vindati enjoys. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Purport. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service, And when one is situated in the transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness. That is the last word in the Bhagavad Gita. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jadam Bharagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Zavadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha So there's different types of gyan. Sometimes we hear, well, there's gyan, and there's one level, and then the higher level is bhakti. But a different type of gyan is being spoken here about by Prabhupada. Prabhupada is saying here a type of gyan which is the result of devotional service. When the fruit of pure devotional service, you see, is there, when pure devotional service becomes fully fructified, then one is blessed with transcendental knowledge. And he doesn't need any peace anywhere else. Not in anything else. Just that knowledge itself gives him complete peace and happiness. That's all. Doesn't depend on any material thing at all. Nothing. And he relishes that like anything. Just the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge that he has realized as a result of pure devotional service is so enlivening that he can just go on relishing that knowledge with nothing else to do. But yet he remains fully active at the same time. Because he sees around him a whole world bereft of this transcendental knowledge. He sees around him the entire world is suffering due to a lack of this transcendental knowledge.
само поради липсата на това трансцендентално знание.
Therefore, he fully absorbs himself 24/7 in pushing forward this knowledge for the benefit of the suffering, ignorant souls.
Затова той се ангажира 24 часа 7 дни в седмицата да проповядва това знание.
Note in the verse, Krishna is saying, one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service.
Забележете, че в стиха Кришна казва някой, който е постигнал крайния резултат на...
What does that mean? The Sanskrit is sang siddha, mature, you see, expert.
На санскрит това е сам сидха, означава зрял, експертен.
Or siddha means perfect and sang means complete or completely perfect, you see, sang siddha.
Сидха означава перфектен, а пък...
That devotee who is completely perfect in devotional service,
този предан, който е напълно съвършен в преданото служение,
or mature in devotional service, he relishes that knowledge like anything within himself.
или зрял в преданото служение, той се наслаждава на това знание напълно в себе си.
So, if we want to relish the knowledge, we have to qualify ourselves for them.
Ако вие искате да вкусите знанието, да се насладите на знанието, трябва да се квалифицирате за това.
By surrender to Krishna.
Да се отдадете на Кришна.
Krishna says, inasmuch as they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly.
Кришна казва, до степента, която те ми се отдават, аз ги възнаграждавам.
So it's not that a person who is only partially surrendered will relish the knowledge on the same level as someone who's 100% surrendered.
И заради това някой човек, който не е напълно осъзнал се, няма да се наслаждава по такъв начин, като този, който е 100% Кришна осъзнал.
How much do you want to relish the knowledge?
Колко вие бихте искали да се наслаждавате?
10%?
10%?
30%?
30%?
80%?
80%?
If you want to relish this knowledge 100% in all time, places, and circumstances,
Ако искате да се наслаждавате на това знание 100%,
then you must surrender 100%.
трябва да се отдадете 100%.
You can't fool Krishna.
Не може да заблудите Кришна.
You can't make a show of devotional service and expect to receive the same benefit.
Не може да правите нещо, да имитирате предано служение и да се очаквате същото.
It has to be genuine within your heart.
Това трябва да е искрено в сърцето.
And it doesn't depend on others also, you see.
Също не зависи от другите.
Each one of us is on our own. Even though we're taking advantage of the association of devotees,
Всеки от нас е сам за себе си, въпреки че се възползваме от общуването с преданите.
we're taking advantage of guru, sadhus, so many things we're taking advantage of, you see, to advance in Krishna consciousness.
Пък се възползваме от гуру, саду, толкова неща, които взимаме от Кришна съзнание.
But ultimately, how much you advance in Krishna consciousness is completely up to you, nobody else.
В крайна сметка това, доколко напредвате в Кришна съзнание, си е изцяло свързано с вас.
It's all on your shoulders.
Всичко лежи на вашата ramena.
You can't say, well, the devotees weren't nice to me and therefore I'm not Krishna. No, you can't give any excuse.
Не може да кажете, преданите не се отнасяха добре с мен и затова аз не се приемат никакви извинения.
It's all completely up to you.
Всичко зависи изцяло от вас.
How much are you willing to surrender to Krishna?
Доколко вие желаете да се отдадете на Кришна.
To that extent, you relish this transcendental knowledge.
В такава степен ще се наслаждавате на трансценденталното знание.
So we shouldn't wait around.
Така че не трябва да се бавим.
The pure devotional service is so nice, I can sit and watch it for hours.
Чистото предано служене е толкова хубаво, че мога да седя и да му се наслаждавам в часове.
It's not a spectator sport.
То не е за наблюдатели.
If you want to taste this nectar, you have to dive in and yourself personally become absorbed in bhakti.
Ако искате да се наслаждавате на това знание, трябва да се гмурнете в него и самият вие да се потопите изцяло в бхакти.
You have to make the commitment within your own heart to Krishna.
Трябва да имате тази решителност в сърцето си.
And then you will taste the nectar.
И тогава ще вкусите нектар.
So, why are we holding back?
И така, защо не се решаваме да направим тази крачка?
There's no reason to hold back.
Няма никаква причина.
But yeah, we hold back Foolishly we hold that.
Това е от глупост.
Tamaguna. Mode of ignorance.
Гуната на невежда.
So we should kick out this tamaguna.
Трябва да изритваме.
That's why it's recommended a Vaishnava should rise early in the morning before sunrise.
Затова се препоръчва един вайшнава да става рано сутрин.
Because this helps to repel the influence of tamaguna.
Защото това помага да се борим с влиянието на тамагуна.
So in this way, we will take advantage of this wonderful process that Prabhupada is giving us.
И по този начин ние може да се възползваме от прекрасния процес, който Шрила Прабхупада ни остави.
Become more and more absorbed in Krishna consciousness 24 hours a day.
Да ставаме все по- и по-вглъбени в Кришна съзнание по 24 часа на ден.
Then we will experience an amazing awakening of transcendental knowledge within our hearts.
Тогава ние ще усетиме едно невъобразимо събуждане на трансценденталното знание в сърцето.
It will be so relishable
То ще бъде толкова
and so sweet
толкова сладко,
that nothing of this material world can compete with it.
че нищо в този материален свят не може да се сравни с него.
So I'll stop here and ask if there's any questions. Stanu Prabhu.
Аз имам два въпроса. Единият изглежда, Кришна казва тук, че трябва ли човек да се насъждава на това съзнание, при положение, че все пак при получаване щастието, ние трябва да знаем, че го правим за удоволствие на Кришна това. Трябва ли да се насъждаваме? Това авторизираме ли в този стих, че трябва да се... Това е първият въпрос.
Can we relish this knowledge? Can we relish
Yes.
because we know that we must do everything. We must do everything for Krishna pleasure.
Yeah.
And not for our pleasure.
Yeah.
And so then how we relish?
Yeah. Our process is that we give pleasure to Krishna, that's right. But that is the supreme relish. To relish giving pleasure to Krishna. You see, you think the devotees don't enjoy pleasing Krishna? There's nothing sweeter or more relishable than, just seeing Prabhupada how blissful he was. He was relishing like anything, giving pleasure to Krishna. It's not that the... Oh, I'm going.
Вярно, че това е нашия процес да доставяме удоволствие на Кришна, обаче ние изпитваме удоволствие от това да доставяме удоволствие на Кришна и виждаме, че Шрила Прабхупада той се наслаждава много дълбоко през цялото време, докато служи на Кришна.
What is that he relishes? That Krishna is God, that I'm his eternal servant, and now I must engage in his service. He relishes that like anything.
Той се наслаждава на това, че Кришна е Бога, аз съм негов вечен слуга. Той се наслаждава много дълбоко.
So the pure devotee, he is the supreme relisher, actually.
Чистият предан отдаден е, той е върховният наслаждаващ се.
He relishes being absorbed in giving pleasure to Krishna.
Той се наслаждава на това да е потопен, да доставя удоволствие на Кришна.
He enjoys equally with Krishna.
Той се наслаждава наравно с Кришна.
Why equally? He enjoys more than Krishna.
Даже повече от Кришна.
That's why Krishna became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he said, what is this? My devotee is enjoying more than me?
Защото той казва, какво е това? Моите предани се наслаждават.
How is that? I'm a supreme enjoyer?
Как е възможно, нали? Аз съм върховен.
And Radharani is enjoying more than me by serving me?
Радharani се наслаждава повече от мен, като ми служи.
I don't want to miss out on this pleasure. I'm going to become my own devotee. So he did. He became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Аз искам да стана свой предан отдаден.
When Krishna wants to increase his enjoyment, he becomes Lord Chaitanya.
Когато Кришна иска да увеличи своето наслаждение, той става Бог Чайтания.
Because there's more relish in being the devotee of Krishna than there is being Krishna.
Защото има повече наслаждение от това да си предан на Кришна, отколкото да си Кришна.
As confirmed by Krishna himself.
Това е потвърдено от самия Кришна.
So don't think it's not relishable to be a devotee. It's the supreme. It's even more relishable than being God himself.
Вече не мислете, че няма наслаждение в това да си предан. Това е по-голямо наслаждение, отколкото да си самия Бог.
By becoming the pure devotee, you can enjoy more than the supreme enjoyer.
Като станете напълно предани, вие може да се наслаждавате повече от върховния наслаждаващ.
That's how relishable is pure bhakti.
Ето колко дълбоко наслаждение ви става чистата преданост.
According to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Според Бог Chaitanya.
So therefore we are in Lord Chaitanya's movement.
Затова ние сме в неговото движение.
This is where you get the most nectar, you see.
Там има най-много нектар.
You know what Krishnadas Kaviraj said about Vaishnavas that didn't accept Lord Chaitanya as God?
Знаете какво Кришнадас Кавирач каза за вайшнавите, които не...
It's pretty heavy. He said they're a demon. It's pretty heavy.
Това е много тежко.
Of course, we don't go around saying that, but that's stated in Krishnadas Kaviraj. Because this Chaitanya's movement is the quintessence of bhakti. Quintessence means the ultimate essence.
Защото това движение на Бог Чайтания е самата същност на бхакти.
Next question.
He has another question.
I'm recognizing you.
Мога за практичен съвет как да престанем да оскърбяваме пренодадените в ума си.
He wants practical advice how we stop to blaspheme the devotees in our...
Always glorify the devotee.
Винаги ги възхвалява.
And there won't be any time for blasphemy.
Няма да има време да ги...
You should glorify the devotees 24 hours a day.
24 часа.
Then there won't be any time left for blasphemy.
И тогава няма да има време за оскърбление.
Да, но ако може да го правя, нямаше да ми е трудно да ги оскърбявам. Това не ми помага. Нещо практично. Питам начин, по който да се изчисти това.
Something practical to cleanse this.
That is practical. What are you talking about?
Това е практично.
By your thoughts, words, and deeds, you must always glorify the devotees. Why do you say impractical?
I'm saying
That's nonsense.
If I had the chance to glorify them, beside to offend them, it wouldn't be so...
I said your attitude, your words, and your actions should all be showing gratitude and appreciation for Vaishnava. That is very practical. For you to say, give me something practical, means you didn't understand the answer.
I'm saying the mind, I'm very influenced by the mind.
Huh?
Very confused by the mind.
His mind.
Huh?
He's very confused by the mind.
That's what I'm saying. Whenever your mind thinks badly about a devotee, you should think, yes, but he has this good quality.
Това казвам, когато умът ви помисли нещо лошо за някой предан отдаден, тогава
so-and-so das eats too much.
Този яде много.
But he works so hard.
Той работи толкова много.
You should always have something, if your mind gives you some negative thing, you should always then bring in, but my dear mind, don't you realize that he works so hard?
И ако умът ви дава някаква негативна черта, трябва веднага да му кажете, ама не виждаш ли?
You have to always bring in something to defeat the bad thought, you see.
Трябва веднага да се сетите за нещо, с което да победите тази лоша мисъл.
Sometimes devotees mistreat us. Doesn't it happen sometimes? Neophyte devotees mistreat us. Anybody have that experience of being mistreated by a neophyte devotee? Sometimes it happens.
Понякога някой начинаш предан отдаден, се отнася неправилно с нас.
But does that mean you should harbor bad thoughts against that devotee?
Това означава ли, че държите в себе си лоши мисли по адрес на този предан отдаден?
Of course you can if you want.
Разбира се, можете, ако искате.
But you're not going to be happy.
Няма да сте щастливи.
I mean, it's a free world. If you want to think negative thoughts, no one's going to stop you.
Това е свободен свят. Ако искате да мислите негативно, никой не може да ви спре.
But even Bob Dylan said negativity won't pull you through.
Но дори Боб Дилан казва, че с негативизъм няма да напредне.
So, therefore, the intelligent thing to do is when you think something bad about a devotee, you should immediately replace it with some good thought.
Затова Най-интелигентното нещо, което може да се направи, ако мислите нещо лошо за някой предан, е веднага да заместите тази мисъл с някоя добра.
That's so. You know, I think, well, so-and-so, you know, I remember he was really in Maya, you know.
Аз мисля, че този наистина е в Майя.
He used to, when I was giving a class, he would just walk through the room like I wasn't even there. He would just ignore me.
Докато давах лекция, той просто минаваше през стаята, сякаш не ме забелязва.
I could think that way, you see, about some devotees.
Аз мога да мисля.
They just were completely, they were practically offensive to me.
Защото те на практика са били оскърбителни към мен.
But is that helping them? No, I should think, but I should see. But now, just see how nicely this devotee is engaged.
Обаче това помага ли им по някакъв начин? Не, аз трябва да гледам.
Just see how sincere he is. In spite of having a fall down, now he has recovered so nicely and he's doing such wonderful service.
Аз трябва да гледам положителното, въпреки че той е бил паднал, той сега служи много добре.
So in this way, you should always see the good. There's two types of little flying creatures. There's flies and bumblebees. What is the fly like? He likes stool. If you have some sower, he likes to come and land on your sower, you know, with the pus oozing out. He loves to come and eat the pus out of your sower. See, but there's the honeybee. What is he like? He wants to go to the beautiful flowers and get a little nectar out of each and every flower, you see. A little nectar here, a little, take it back to the hive, you know. So you have to make a beehive in your heart, you see. You have to see that every devotee is a flower. Let me get a little nectar from this devotee, a little nectar here, and then keep putting that little drops of nectar in my heart and build up a huge honey-filled heart, you see. So every devotee, actually, even a struggling neophyte, is a beautiful flower. Even though he may have some thorns, be still a beautiful flower, you see. You could say, yeah, but look at those thorns, those nasty thorns. I'm not going to get near him because he's got those nasty thorns. Ugh. Why don't you see, oh, he's a beautiful flower. Let me associate and get a little nectar by nicely, you know, serving that devotee, hearing from that devotee, etc., etc. In this way, by seeing the good in that person and not being so worried about the thorns, then you become a great transcendentalist. Because if you're willing to look in the heart of every devotee and see the good in that devotee, your good qualities will be magnified 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. So why be a fault finder, a fault-finding fly? You see? And you could be a nectar-finding honeybee. Next question. Yeah.
To chant properly, to
Chant.
We must feel like we are lower than a straw in a street.
That's right.
Is it possible?
And what?
Is it possible to be so...
Is it possible? Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think Lord Chaitanya would give us an instruction that's impossible to follow? Yes or no? What'd she say? No. He would not do that, you see. So therefore, it is possible. It's just by common sense. Obviously, if Lord Chaitanya gave that instruction, it is possible. So instead of asking, is it possible now, you should ask, how is it possible? That's the proper question. To say is it possible, that means you don't, where's the faith in Lord Chaitanya? So you should be asking, how is it possible to do that? That is the proper question. So the way it is possible to do that is to beg the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Because by his mercy, even the impossible becomes possible. For us puffed up Kali Yugites, it is indeed impossible to become humble. That's a fact. It is very, very impossible for a puffed up Kali Yugite to become humble. But by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, even that which is impossible becomes possible. Not only is it possible, it becomes probable. Do you know the difference? Possible means, well, it could be remotely possible by, like 1 out of 10 trillion. That's possible. It's a possibility. But if we say it's probable, that means it's likely to happen. That means the odds are good. The possibility is very, very good possibility. That's what it means. Like, 70% chance. That's a very good chance, you see. If you have a 70% chance of accomplishing something, the odds are in your favor. So, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, what are the odds of being successful in becoming humble? 100%. 100% odds. You won't fail. If you will beg for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you will not fail in achieving pure humility. You will not fail. Because even if you beg him in an impure, puffed up heart, which is obviously what we're going to have to do because that's where we're at right now. He doesn't make any conditions. He freely bestows his mercy upon anyone who asks for it, even if they come full of all lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy. So all you really have to do is beg, Lord Chaitanya, please help me to become humble. That's all you have to do. And then you will achieve it by his mercy. Yes, now it's your question. And no one laugh, please. Don't laugh when the children ask questions. Okay, go ahead.
Where I can see Hanuman.
When can he see Hanuman?
Where?
When you become a completely pure devotee of Krishna, you see, then you'll be able to directly associate with with Lord Krishna, with Lord Ram, and all the great devotees of Lord Krishna and Lord Ram. So if you want to meet with Hanuman, you can do that. You simply must become the pure devotee of Krishna. And then Hanuman, he will come and he will personally come and he will bless you. So now you do that, all right? You become the pure devotee of Krishna. You agree to do that? Become a pure devotee? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes? Very good. Thank you. Okay, next question. Yeah. Very good. Okay, Sarvabhauma Prabhu.
Пример с розата. Ние знаем, че всеки цени красотата на розата и нейния аромат и хората не покастрят тръните, нали? Просто те приемат така, каквато е. Ако всеки един от нас е като такава роза, нали? Необходимо ли е ние да махнем от себе си всички тръни? Един по един да стане просто много станово, при положение, че имаме това качество.
The people like the rose.
People like
Rose.
They like the rose, yeah.
But they don't remove the thorns.
So they don't remove the thorn.
Yeah. So is it necessary for us to remove the thorn-like qualities in us, since we are a flower anyway?
It's necessary for us to remove the thorn-like qualities. Actually, when the disciple offers his spiritual master a rose, he removes all the thorns before he hands it to him.
Когато ученикът предлага роза на духовния си учител, той маха тръните.
If you would offer your spiritual master a rose flower, would you leave the thorns on, or you would take the thorns off?
Като предлагате роза на духовния си учител, ще оставите ли тръните?
Remove the thorns. Yeah, you don't want him to cut his fingers when you hand him the rose, you see. So that's how we should offer ourselves. You see, no illicit sex. There's 4 basic type of thorns. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, gambling. These 4 thorns should be removed.
Така трябва да предложим себе си без незаконен секс, 4 регулиращи принципа. Тези тръни трябва да се махат.
And if we're having difficulty removing the thorns, then we should ask the Vaishnavas to help us, ask the spiritual master to help us.
Ако срещаме трудности в това да махнем тези тръни, трябва да молим за помощ в
The spiritual master is very kind upon those persons who approach him and begging for his mercy.
Духовният учител е много мил с тези, които се обръщат към него за милостта.
So yes, we all have so many thorns as a man.
Да, ние имаме много тръни.
What we can do, we have to offer ourselves with the thorns. I mean, it's, we join Prabhupada's movement to become his pure devotees.
Трябва да се предложим с тръните, когато сме се присъединили.
And we try to be pure, but these anarthas take many years to get rid of,
Аз се опитвам да съм чист, но много години трябва да се освободиш.
So we have to offer ourselves in spite of our thorns.
Така че трябва да предложим себе си, въпреки че сме с тръни.
But work diligently to get rid of those thorns.
Но целенасочено да работим, за да ги махнем.
There's so many subtle thorns also, besides the 4 principles. The 10 offenses also.
Има много финни тръни, освен 4 принципа.
So we have many thorns, that's a fact.
Има много тръни, това е факт.
So we should, with thorns or without thorns, we must offer ourselves to Krishna and to Guru.
С тръни или без тръни ние трябва да предложим себе си на Кришна и на Гуру.
And then by their mercy, we will become gradually free of all the thorns.
И по тяхната милост постепенно ще се освободим.
It's not that we should be completely thornless before we offer ourselves to Krishna. That's the point.
Това, което трябва да се отбележи, че не е необходимо да сме непременно без тръни, когато...
It's like some people say, well, am I committing so many offenses, I'm just not going to chant anymore.
Както някои хора казват, аз извършвам толкова оскърбление, няма да мантрувам.
That's even more offensive.
Това е по-оскърбително.
It's better to chant offensively than to not chant at all.
По-добре е да се мантрува с оскърбление, отколкото да не се мантрува.
So there's nothing go, I'm so thorny, therefore I'm just going to go away from the Krishna conscious movement.
Някой може да каже, аз съм толкова трънлив, че ще си тръгна направо.
No, please come with all your thorns.
Не, елате се всички с тръни.
And we'll help you get rid of them.
И ние ще ви помогнем да се освободите.
But one should strive to get rid of them. That's sincerely strive.
Но човек искрено трябва да се стреми да се освободи от тях.
That's a fact. Any other questions? Stanu Prabhu.
Как може да се разбере този последен ред от стиха, къде е на Атман и Виндати, където Кришна казва, че когато му дойде време, така да го размотава, звучи мистично.
The last line in the shloka, last line. when Krishna says, when the time is right. This sounds very
In due
mystical.
course of time, that's right.
In due course of time. This sounds very mystical. How to understand this?
Yes. What does it mean when Krishna says, Kaliatmani Vindati? In due course of time, he enjoys within himself. That means you have to be patient. In due course of time, you will enjoy. If you sincerely follow this process, in due course of time, you will taste the highest bliss. That's a thing. That means it comes gradually. If I say, well, I've heard there's a beautiful thing called a sunrise. Now, you kindly take me over to this, this park so I can watch the sunrise. Say, okay, I want to see it right now. Where is it? That sunrise doesn't come all of it. It's just in 1 second, all of a sudden, you see. It gradually comes. The eastern horizon becomes a little bit, not totally pitch black, a little bit brighter, a little bit brighter, a little bit brighter. Then finally there's a little tiny sliver of light that peeks up over the horizon. You see a little smidgen of light, you see. And then a little bit more, a bigger smidgen. And then finally a little more just comes very subtly, very slowly creeping up, you see. So in due course of time, you will see the entire sun, that's a fact. But it comes little, slowly, gradually. So in this way, you relish that happiness within yourself in that way. The beginning is the little tiny drop of it. You go, wow, this is really amazing. The little drop then becomes, it just continues growing. So in this way, it's in due course of time, like a sunrise. Any other questions out there?
Аз имам въпрос. Ако материалният свят, това е част от енергиите на Бога, а те са вечни, означава ли, че не си спомням дали Бхагавад Гита, това е спекулация, Кришна казваше, че както той е вечен, всичките му енергии и материалния свят и духовния свят са вечни, те винаги съществуват. Това означава ли, че материалният свят винаги съществува и продължи да съществува?
If all the Krishna's energies are eternal, does that mean that the material world and all of Krishna's energies are also eternal?
Yes, of course. Material world is also eternal. Not that it exists for a certain period of time and there's no more material world. The difference is the material world goes through cycles of manifestation and non-manifestation. Spiritual world is never non-manifested. When Mahavishnu inhales, the material world goes within him in a non-manifest state. Then he exhales, it comes out again in a manifest state. All the living entities who were entangled in the material world at the time of the universal destruction also are merged into the body of Mahavishnu. And when he exhales, they again come out and pick up where they left off in the pathway of sense gratification. Or spiritual elevation too.
пък се стига до духовност.
What if you're trying to become a pure devotee and you don't quite make it, and Mahavishnu inhales?
Ако се опитваш да станеш чист предан отдание и не си успял докато Махавишну вдиша.
You could also be in a state of suspended animation with all the other conditioned souls, because you're still partially conditioned.
Ти можеш да попаднеш също в такова състояние на временно.
Of course, we have a good shot of becoming pure before the next inhalation.
И затова е добро предложение да се пречистим до следващото вдишване.
You're not going to inhale for another 155 trillion years.
Защото няма да има издишване за 155.
So take the opportunity now before he inhales. Otherwise, you might be stuck in a non-manifest state for 311 trillion years. With all the conditioned souls. So there's a saying in English, get while the getting's good. In other words, get out while the getting's good. When you have a get while the getting's good. So in other words, when you have a good chance to get out, take it and get out. So don't loiter in this material existence. Chasing the will of the wisp of sense enjoyment. You've been chasing that will of the wisp for thousands and millions of lifetimes. And where has it gotten in you? Another damn rotting body, that's all. So take the advantage. Take the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Make this your last lifetime in the material world. Okay, we'll give one more last question. Anybody has one more? Now I'll give one more. This lady here, yes, it's Manaji here. Yeah.
Аз имам един практичен въпрос, който все едно конкретно слушане, и това е свързано с цветята, които се отглеждат за мъртвите, които са нападнати от паразити. Какви по принципи са други такива неща. И в случая имаме два авторитета, които имат различно мнение. Един авторитет казва, че цветята по-добре да не се пръскат, защото ние имаме света. Друг авторитет казва, всъщност, тъй като това са цветя, които се отглеждат за Кришна, ние сме длъжни да ги поддържаме в здраво състояние, дори ако трябва да убием техните паразити. И искам авторитетно виждане.
When we grow flowers for Krishna, and they are invaded by bugs.
And they're what?
Invaded by some bugs.
Oh, okay.
That eat them. Should we kill the bugs or no?
Yeah. As much as possible, one should avoid killing bugs. There are ways to keep the bugs away without killing them. One thing is you get a greenhouse where the bugs can't access it, they can't get in. You can, in a greenhouse, you can keep all the bugs out, just never let them in. So if as far as possible, one should always try to avoid killing. If it's completely unavoidable, then you may have to sometimes regretfully do it. But as far as possible, it should be avoided. Because they're jivas just like us. They're simply suffering some reactions for previous sins. That's all. So try to spare the poor little bugs as much as possible. Only if there's no other alternative could you kill them. Okay? All right. So we'll stop here. We thank you all very much. Rajavajra Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.